Well, it's Wednesday, 20th of August. Still a week and a half left this month. I'm reeling in the line, the back line. I've already done the front line. I'm gonna move the cows down into the forest, silva pasture. Just collecting the fence posts so I can do that, graze them on half days, silage up in the barn. It's gonna be a real question. It's nice and overcast today. It should be cooler, which will help any of the rain that's soaked in grow this grass back. But it's gonna be a real question as to whether we can graze this field again this year. Normally, it would regrow and I could graze in September and I could also graze in October. But as far set back as this is, it's going to be more than a 45-day rest. And predictions are that we're going to have an early and cold fall. So I don't want to set the pasture back for next spring. So I can't graze past where the grass would recover before the frost. I can graze after. I could hold off and not graze, and then let's see, I could hold off and not graze, let this grass grow, see where we're at come end of September, if we have anything to graze. If I could graze and get some regrowth before the frost, because that affects next spring, or let it grow and then wait, hopefully 3 days below 20 degrees sends the grass into dormancy. So, if we had that weather in November, I could send the cows out to graze the field then, because the grass would be dormant. Once the grass is dormant, all the sugar's contained in their roots for regrowth in the spring. They don't need a solar collector over the winter, unless we have a mild winter, and I don't think that's going to be the case. So then you can successfully graze stockpiled grass that way. And that would help in the winter. It gives the cows something to do, but it does break up the routine. And when the ground's frozen, it's hard to get these fence posts in. So that's another challenge. I've never yet managed to successfully graze stockpiled forage in the winter, because sometimes you think you got a nice stand and it'd be good to graze, but then like one year I was all set and we got an ice storm and the field just became a skating rink. Yeah, there was very little snow on the ground. The cows could have grazed it, but the path into the field and from the barn was sheer ice for a week, despite salting it and all the rest of it. So oftentimes the best of plans, you plan and the weather just prevents you from doing it anyway. So we'll see what happens. I've got probably a week and a half of grazing, not even, in the forest. And then we're totally on silage until something is able to regrow. I think I've done pretty good with this field. We've got, 4 grazings out of it since May, June, July, August. I would have expected 5 or 6. Just don't have the rain. Just down here in the forest, setting up grazing line for the cows for the next few days. And I'm really bummed to see that the Japanese millet down here is bolting. The stuff up in the field, calf field that I planted at the same time, is 3 times the height and just only now starting to set flowers. But yeah, this stuff is, You know, the stuff up there is about that tall. This stuff's half the height, and it's bolting. So this is the week to graze this off. Good amount of turnip in here and forage radish. That's good. That's high protein. This will be a good mix for them to hit. And there's there's about an acre of mixed stuff. What I don't see, a little bit of oats coming up here. I planted oat pea mix along with just to see what would grow in this weather. I planted oats and peas, an improved variety of clover, which is here, a little bit of vetch, and then the Japanese millet and some turnip and radish seed. There's still good chance if we get a day where it's going to rain, and I know we've got a significant probability to rain, I'll go fertilize the big field and also overseed and broadcast some millet, peas, oats, whatever, and the radish, because it'll take hold in the bare spots up there and grow. So that's a hope. This field here, where I'm about to put them for the day, has a good amount of turnip as well. So some of my strategies, despite the weather affecting other things, have worked. All right, so I gotta give them a line across here, and they can have the top section of this. The grass definitely isn't hectic. It's barely there, but we'll graze it off and hope that it regrows. There's one of the heifers. I don't remember whose daughter she is. Maybe Trixie's. We're not gonna breed her. She's getting beefed, and clearly after today, she's getting beefed. All through milking, she's been trying to get through this gate. Well, there were cows in the parlor. Twice she caused an incident while cows were trying to come in. Now all the cows are dominant over her. They would love to see her killed. They were, they kettle her in the corner in the entry to the parlor. They'll bash her. So all of a sudden, trying to let the cows into the parlor with her right in the mix got very dangerous. I got rammed twice. She keeps trying to mount me. So they'd all gone. I'd let them all down to the field, and she came back while I was trying to feed the calves, and I didn't realize it, and I almost got crushed. So the other danger is she got her head caught. There's a little bit of a gap, just barely big enough for my fist. She got her nose caught in there twice during milking, agitating the cows who are then kicking me. And she's almost got her head caught in this space. Now, if she gets her head caught in this space, no! If she gets her head caught in this space, she'll hang herself because the ramp is slick. Stop! I don't understand why she's interested in me. I don't understand why she's so interested in the parlor today. Never before. But I think she's first in line to go. I think September might not be soon enough. She is clearly lost. Now, Flora was in heat the other day. She was just hanging out with Bramble, being Bramble's best buddy. But Teazle today has become, not on purpose, it's just got to be hormones, but really dangerous. Dangerous for herself, dangerous for the other cows, dangerous for us, me. The thing is, she's really a beautiful cow. But she's not. She was one of the cows we crossbred. I don't remember. She's bred from one of our kept bulls. She's 1.5 years old, so spruce bud, I think it was. Stop! No, the only option is to spray her in the face with water and hope she learns her lesson and goes away. Because I don't want to come down here this afternoon and find her stuck and hung in that gate. We like that gate there because it's got the lower things there. It's not like this gate, which would be easier for her to get more stuck in. Cows. Just trying to get some things done around the new pad area. I'm going to grab something cold to drink. Barn fridge. Too early for a beer. I think it's a seltzer day. All right. So I was just in the process of getting the diesel tank squared away in the new area, and I got a delivery. And of course, they didn't call me to let me know the delivery was coming. I just looked up across the way and saw the truck. So we got 8 bundles of green sun film, I hope, to differentiate it from the white sun film, which is older, that I have. And I got more baling twine because my net wrap system isn't working still, and I don't have time to fix it. And the twine wrap is working great. So that's going to be for second cut. I can't believe how fast the sun film showed up, silage wrap. There is no store here. I have to travel. It's a 2-hour round trip to get to anywhere that sells silage wrap. I don't understand. All the farms around here use it. They either buy it offline or go out to even further to the tractor dealers. There's another one out near Augusta. Anyway, I don't use either of the ones. It's a special trip, so it's just better for me to order online. Also, a lot better price. Now, I had found a great price. I paid $129 a roll for this, I think. I'd found some for the same stuff for $94 a roll, and also I think it was $20 a bundle for the same twine, where I paid $49 a bundle for this twine. Oh wow, I'm going to save all this money, and the bill came to $950 some bucks, and I thought, all right, great. Clicked on the shipping, and it was $1,300 to get it here. Ain't gonna happen. This happened to cost almost the same as the shipping quote for the other, with free shipping. So I had to pay more, but it cost me less in the end. So hopefully we'll get that and the urea tucked in the shipping container when we get it here, get it out of the weather. I'm just, I've got this set up. I got some spare concrete blocks and an old slab set up here. That's sound. I'm going to get a diesel delivery next week. I'm just gathering all the flammable stuff there. Those are buckets that are empty or half full of used oil and hydraulic fluid we use to start brush fires and just lubricate stuff. And my idea is to get this mess, which has been here since last year, completely gone. So having that area dressed and cleaned up will make things a lot easier. Now it'd be real tempting just to chuck this stuff behind the other side of the shed, get it out of my way, hide it. But that just puts me my other way at a different time. And also with this much stone, and the fact that I'm now riding high on the second half of the pad, I may actually, once I'm done distributing what I need out of this pile in a couple other spots that I'm dressing up, I may clear that lumber out there and expand this yard a bit more with what I've got. It was, the price was shocking, so I want to make this stuff go as far as possible. But yeah, so I want to get this side dressed up and clean, because I can also put some of that stone out here to finish the front of this. I got to figure out what to do with this shed. But that's basically, I have to wait to empty it out into the new shipping container before I can do something with it. I think I'm just going to tear it down. Honestly, it is looking pretty sad. It's a lot more rotten on the base than I thought. I bumped into it with the skid steer and it just crumpled. So, yeah, hate to do it, but nobody's going to take it, not even for free. You couldn't move it if you wanted. And it's just sitting here. Let's get rid of it. It's something like Saturday the 23rd of August. Still no rain. Yesterday, what did I do? I lost yesterday. I had to go on some errands, and I fixed the standpipe up in the outside the barn. We realized it's been like that since 2020, 5 years. When we first got the excavator in 2020, I buried the line out to the field and a water line down below the new barn. And never got to complete it because I realized after I was working on it, well, we had to replace the standpipe that was there because it was bent by a snowplow prior to us moving here. And then, whoops, I just undid the wrong line. Hang on. Initially, the holdup was I needed to hand excavate around the base of the old standpipe, dig down to the coupling, change the coupling, and join it to the new line that fed the other two standpipes. And I didn't realize there was a shutoff for that standpipe under the house. I couldn't find it earlier. Just felt that I would have to turn off the water to the whole farm. And because of the cheese making schedule and needing water every day, it didn't happen. It was easier to not do it because I kept thinking, well, we need to find a time when we don't need water. And a lot of times when we need the least amount of water is in the winter, and then it's impossible. So I let it sit there, and then I realized, well, wait a minute. If I'm going to go to all that trouble, I should probably... I'm down here. The cows got into today's grazing block last night, and it looks like they decimated it. But too bad for them, that's where they've got to be today. So there's still some in the back section. They can come down here and hang out. I'll feed them silage up in a barn. And then I'll have to reset. On the other side, this section here is strong, a little weak in places. I don't think I should graze it. They did a light graze on it last time. Maybe I just send them in there tomorrow, which means I should run the line today if I get a chance. Oh, but I can't when the cows are down here because they'll riot. And I gotta figure out where to put the cows tomorrow. Anyway, so the line up there, I realized, well, wait a minute. If we're going to put a new parlor in, we'll need to feed the water. So let's tie in the two new standpipe lines, fix the old standpipe, and extend the water down to where the parlor is going to be. So that was kind of 21, 22. And also I was working off farm at that time, swamped busy during the summer, barely able to cope. And so I didn't get done. And then 23, it rained all summer and just wasn't practical to do. And then last year I thought, okay, forget tying in the old line. I need to use them. I'll just put a coupling on the end of the pipe to the two new standpipes and use a short piece of hose to a Y splitter on the old standpipe. Job done. Worked great. Lines functioned. And because I don't need those lines during winter, they don't need to be pressurized all year. So that's pretty much where we stand today, is I realized the old standpipe was just leaking unbelievably, wasting water every time I turn it on. And because we're in a severe drought, it had to end. I had to fix it. I had the new standpipe. I just needed to dig down and fix it. We've been walking across a pallet spanning the ditch now for 5 years. The other day, Allison fell through it, and I put a piece of plywood on it, and it was no good. I needed to do something. You can only ignore something for so long when it's an issue like that. So I figured, well, with all that stone that we just got, I can make a nice pad once I'm finished. And I found some drain rock that I'd walk by the pile every day and just wasn't seeing it for what it was. It's drain rock. It's covered with grass and stuff, and the cows have shit on it. So I undid the stone pile. I dug down to the union, realized we don't need the line for the new parlor because the parlor isn't going there. So it's impractical to run the line there. It doesn't make sense to dig down and couple the old line, the two new lines, because it's working fine the way it is. And like I said, they don't need to be pressurized year round. We don't use the water at the bottom of the barn except for during the summer, and we haven't even used it this summer because it's buried behind a pile of manure. And I found other ways around that. We don't have a water line coming down to the forest. The cows are just going back up and drinking. And it turns out that's working. Last year, I did run water to the bottom of the hill. But again, it was just 100 feet off of that one standpipe. And it took moving the tank and making sure it was empty. And it was a lot of work for very little gain. I will be putting a permanent couple of troughs down here with black poly, because they should have water when they're down here. But it isn't necessary because it's not that far for them to walk back up. And all the times they go back up and hang out in the barn. And this summer I'm treating the forest area differently. And they're getting half days down here now. And they're eating silage up there. So they're only coming down here for their own amusement. And not all of them are coming down all the time. So, I reel in this line. I think we can not have to do that the rest of the summer. So we don't need that lower line. We don't need the line pressurized year round, because the line out to the field, the cows don't need the waters in the field during the winter because they don't go out there. And if they do, again, I would only put them in the end where it's close enough to go back to the barn. So we'll just keep with attaching a hose to run those lines and disconnect it and drain them in the winter. So all of a sudden the job became really easy, and I had the perfect confluence of things. A pissed off wife who fell through the pallet, and I was mortified that happened. I had the stone, I had the drain rock, I had the standpipe, and I just said, right, today's the day. And it turned out, like all the projects I delay on, it was 10 times easier than I thought it was going to be. I unscrewed the old standpipe. There was already a brass union down below and a short stub. And I screwed on the new one, tested it, and it didn't leak. Filled it full of drain rock, crushed stone pad over the top, and job's a good one. It looks great. New standpipe works great, doesn't leak. So that was a win. That's what I did yesterday. It took, less time than I thought, but there weren't complications. And also, because I can turn off the water to that standpipe alone, problem solved. I don't have to turn off the water to the whole farm. Didn't affect the creamery or the cheese or anything. And it was fortunately, it wasn't an issue. It could have been a big issue if there'd been leaks or problems or the coupling had come undone or I'd broken something. It would have been a lot bigger because I would have really had to dig out a hole big enough for me to stand and work in. As it was, I could get away with a hole about the size of a 5-gallon bucket down there. And it worked out great. So fortunately, that's been solved. That's a huge relief. We'll see what Allison says when she sees it this morning, because I know that. And I also was able to put that, I'll show you up there. I pulled the stone back. I kind of dressed it up so that I can park an IBC tote there now and fill it. I can drive the skid steer right up there, fill buckets in the bucket of the skid steer. All of a sudden, because I had that spare crushed stone, it became a lot more doable using that, because I had not thought about that before. It filled in the hole nicely. There's drain rock around the base of the standpipe so the moisture can wick away, so it won't be ponding. Any water that spills around can just drain away. It's become a lot nicer than I ever imagined it could be. So today I'm hoping to install some windows in the barn. We'll see what happens. It kind of happens every year. This little break in August, late August, where I'm in between cuttings. I still have one field of first cut left to do. I would have done it long ago, but the tractor's, I'm limping by, try not to use the tractor. I'm going to have to move on it next week. I'm going to have to move on the couple fields, 2 acres of second cut. And I'm gonna go check those today too, because I know that wedding's gonna happen. I know they want to park there, so I don't want to lose the grass. But you know, it's picking away those little farm jobs. There are some bigger farm jobs that I need to do, but for the moment, picking away some of these little ones that have stacked up over time, the windows in the barn, the standpipe and things, feels great. It's productive, getting things done. I also need to finish and get that shipping container ordered because I got to put the pigs somewhere. I also realize I need to get down here and clean up some of this firewood and clear out some of this, make it easier for the cows to graze here. I need this firewood for the winter. I've got to start working. I've already started a little bit of work on the firewood, but I got to get that going so that it's ready to go. And then come late September, can't believe it's almost September in a couple weeks, I've got to move on working on the new heating system. I don't want to be putting that in November. I'm sure that's what's going to happen though. Well, I'm over here in Friendship doing my grass walk, and the fields are cooked. This one was one of the earliest. I think I cut this mid-June, fertilized it. There was a couple of rainstorms right afterwards, but that was the last rain we've seen. We did have a little bit this on Sunday, and the rain that fell at our place on Sunday has greened up a couple of the forest pastures. Didn't touch the main pasture, which is also burnt up. And so this field wasn't looking this bad last week when I did my grass walk. Technically it's ready to cut, but nothing's heading out. And I'm pretty sure this grass walk is going to find that the grass growth is stagnated. And I'm just gonna wait. And some areas are nice and green. Obviously this is a wetter area, got some moisture, but actually out in the wettest part of this field, cooked, it's totally dry, yellow. So I don't know what we're gonna do. Hope that the rain we're getting in a couple of days soaks in. And I'm gonna push this off to September to cut. There's just no pressure on this field. It's just gonna be here, and I need it to green up, I need it to grow. Evening at the barn. Ladies are in for work for their evening shift. And I'm realizing that I've lost a week today because something that has to happen a week from this coming Tuesday, I thought was 2 weeks away, not 1 week away. And in order to do the thing on Tuesday, I have to be ready on Sunday, which gives me exactly a week from today. And I don't think that's going to be possible. So I don't know what I am going to figure out. I'm sure I'll solve the issue, but at the moment, it doesn't look good. And did I tell you that the fields that I didn't think I had to cut this week, I now have to cut at the first part of this week, if there's any grass, so that a wedding can happen and there can be parking. So just to add to my not having time this week, something that I was sort of hoping, again, I lost a week. The wedding's happening next Friday. I thought it was happening in 2 weeks. Don't know, time just slips away.